Let's take a look at a powerful translation tool in Modeler. I'm going to move over to Modify, and under Translate, More, let's choose Translate Plus. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch into perspective view. You don't have to, but this is a tool that you might find really useful if you prefer to work in the perspective tool, the perspective view. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to perspective view and zoom in. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is hit N for numeric so that we can see what our options are. Now, by default, the operation is set to translate and the axis is set to Z. What that means is that no matter where I click, if I left click and drag, I'm going to be forced to move it in the Z. Okay, so I'm just moving it back and forth, but no matter where I put my cursor and click and drag, it's locked to the Z axis. Okay, so the reason that's nice is that no matter what angle I'm looking at in my perspective window, I know, see the little blue line here? That's the axis that it's going on. Okay, so I'm going to undo and get a different view. And we've got this quick preview. If I turn that on, it's going to just move a preview of the object. I have to actually right click in order to commit, and then move, and then right click, move, and right click. Okay, for me, I like the real-time interactivity, so I keep that off. But that is an option, and it's a really good option for slower systems. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the quick preview off and just work here. Okay, so what if I want to keep the axis at Z? What are my other operation options? Well, I have translate, I have rotate, so it's going to rotate around the Z axis right here. Okay, and again, no matter what angle I'm at, it's going to, and no matter where I click, it's going to rotate right around that axis. So again, hopefully you're seeing why this is a really useful tool in the perspective window. Okay, let's take a look at another operation. We've got scale on axis. So no matter where I put my cursor, it's going to scale the object. It's stretching the object down the Z-axis. Okay, and then we have scale to point, which by default, that's the origin, and no matter where I put my cursor, it's scaling the object to the origin. And we'll see we have other options than just that. Okay, so I'm going to change it back to translate. Now let's take a look at some of our axis options. So right here we've got Z. Let's go to X. So now no matter where I click, I'm moving along the X-axis. I could always rotate or scale to point on the X-axis. Okay, so let's undo and let's change this. Now those are pretty standard. Now if you didn't want to use Translate Plus and get the same setup, you really want to move to 4 windows, and then depending on what ortho window you're in and you hold control, you can click and drag and lock to an axis. But again, in the perspective view, that becomes a little harder unless you use Translate Plus. It's a really great use for Translate Plus. But how about point normal? Okay, if I select that, it's waiting for me to pick the point that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to click that point, and now it's going to move along that point's normal. Okay, what if I want to select this point and I'm going to rotate around that point? I'm using the point normal for my axis, and I'm rotating. Okay, now we're going to get this all out of whack, but that's good because that's where Translate Plus really shines. So let's do another point normal. Let's choose this one right here, and I'm going to scale it. Okay, see it's scaling to, no matter where I put my cursor, it's going to scale to that point. Let's take a look at another option. We'll go to Axis and change it to Segment. So with Segment, it's going to look for 2 points to be selected. I'm just going to select this point and this point. And now when I say translate, it's translating along that segment. Now I'm not limited to choosing 2 points close together. I can choose this point, and it's going to draw the line between those, and then when I translate, I'm translating on that axis between the segment between those 2 points. Okay, so that would be segment. Then we have segment normal, which is you select one point, you select another point, and it's going to be the normal of that edge. It's going to be between those 2 points. Okay, that segment right there, and now I can translate, rotate, or do the other operations on that setup. Okay, so we have all kind of operations here: translate, rotate, scale on axis, and scale to point. We've got different axes that we can choose, and then for origin we can set the default, which of course is the default origin in Lightwave. We can pick a point to be our origin, and we can also pick a segment to be our origin. Okay, so we also have fall off options, and then of course we can manually move it here if we want, by scrubbing and right clicking. Okay, so we have lots of options here. It's great for working in the perspective window, and hopefully you'll give it a go.